BPod Studios.
Toucher, Hardy.
You get used to sitting back and letting Daddy drive the car.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, hello. Hello. Human feces, urine, and debris. Ta-da. Hello. Yes. Hello. Jackpot. Hello. Hello.
I'm John Wallach on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hello. How do you like that? Hello. Welcome to the show. How humiliating. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher Hardy with Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv or the Twitch app. And this hour of the show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. And Hardy's not here. He's taken off. He did his 5-6 weeks of shows and then decided I'll take this week off. And in his place, we had Ryan Johnston for 3 days, and now in comes the first guest host ever on the show, a man by the name of Dan Roche.
Fred, John,
what's up?
Morning,
Danny
fellas.
boy, I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know, it feels like forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time. When are you heading down to JetBlue?
Not going this year.
I know that this is the upset of the morning, and not only is he not going, it wasn't even brought up. It wasn't even mentioned by his bosses to go. There wasn't even an option on the table like maybe we should go.
You know what, though? I don't blame them, Fred. I don't. I just don't. Because
Why, Dan?
the lack of interest is just appalling. And it's been that way all off season.
Yeah, but they owe it to you. Like, you've been around there for a long time. They know how much you want to go there. It is a little bit of a kick in the nuts that they don't send you down there.
You know what, Fred? In this business, the way things go and everything else, it doesn't bother me anymore. I get up, enjoy the day best I can, keep going. I've had some fun. I've had some good stories. Everything's fun.
I've had the time of my life.
You're upset. Were you upset when you first found out you weren't going? Because it has upset you in the past.
Yeah, nowhere near what it has in the past. The other things, I was vocal. I was, for me, as you know, I don't get that angry.
Right.
Except at the game with you with the iPad, and I can't watch my daughter's softball game with you.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know what he's referring to,
the one time you say I was mad.
We were at a
please.
We were at a BC Boston College baseball game at Fenway. They were so nice to let me and my son ride in the bus with them. My son had free reign in their clubhouse there at Fenway. We were playing on the field a little bit, and here comes Dan Roche. I think he's going to be nice. But he's got this iPad out, and his daughter's playing at Babson. She's playing one of these sports, and he can't get her game up. And he's F this and F that and C word this.
Chunkalai. That's what I was saying.
Chunkalai.
Tomas Chunkalai. Big goal last night for the Revs in their season opener.
Yeah, that lit you right up when John did that.
Yes, because the guy who was doing the play-by-play last night, he just was fascinated by saying his name. And here comes Tomas Chunkalai.
All right, so when you, how many years in a row did you go down to JetBlue?
Well, remember that streak? It ended a couple of years ago. I've been going to spring training pretty much every year for about 30 years. Because I started in Kurt Gowdy's radio station. I used to go down to Winter Haven when the Red Sox were playing down there. That place was unbelievable. All I had was a Checkers to eat. That was about it. And then, so I've been doing that for forever. You know what I mean? So I could do that day every day, Fred. If you told me what like this time of year, what would your ideal day be like? It would be 6 a.m. wake up, then 7 o'clock. Meet your photographer downstairs. 7:10 Duncan to the park. Clubhouse opens at 8 to 8:50. Out at 9. Workout 9:30 to 11:30. Alex Cora on the bench. Sit down with players or what have you. Get some more sound. Have a little lunch. Edit stories together. Go on at 5. Go on at 6. Tape the late stuff. 7:30. Be at the Miller Ale House watching Bruins, Celtics, or college basketball. I could do that every day for 6 weeks. Best day ever.
Yeah, and you love it.
Yes.
And it was your favorite part of the job, right?
Yeah, and when you walk in, you hear the crack of the bat. You know, as the sun's coming up, you hear the clickety-clack of the spikes. Ugh. That's what it's all about, Fred.
So they did something that you did a good job at. You'd say you covered it well, right?
Really well.
And they took it away from you.
I mean, but again, it costs money to go. It costs money to send two of us. Expenses, Fred.
I mean, your expenses are $20 at the ale house.
I was just going to say, what are you spending money on?
25
Dunkin'
with tip.
coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it's you just described. You got Dunkin' Donuts in this ale house place where you don't drink, so that's good.
Forget the bar, Diet Coke.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure they're refillable. So I would
Boneless wings for dinner. I mean, how much money are you spending?
I'm sure he gets out
Zingers.
of he gets out of there.
Zingers, the best.
Yeah, he eats like a 4-year-old except for coffee. So he probably gets out of the day under $50 per diem.
Under 50, under 30.
Come on, John. It's been a while since you've been out. $50 per diem. You think you could get it by on a $50 per diem, right? If it was that was just for food.
Oh yes, down there easily. Everywhere else you go, you can. It's harder and harder.
Yeah, but you would think that are they at least apologetic when they tell you you're not going?
Yeah, I mean everybody, but I think it's all understood. So it really, Fred, you know me like the back of my hand. Both of you do. Mm-hmm. It doesn't upset me.
Who gets to go from WBZ?
No one.
They're just not covering spring training?
And you know what? We'd already be back. Like, I would have been back Tuesday. Or, Monday night. Tuesday night. I would have been back. So it's a quick trip.
Do they just have a photographer there?
No.
You just use, like...
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
someone from Fort Myers if you really need something.
Or the Red Sox will post sound, on Twitter and stuff like that we'll use.
Boy.
That is an all-time low.
But it's the same for all the TV stations, though. I think Duke went down for Channel 5 for 5 days, but they rented a photographer down there. And then I think 7 went for 3 days. Channel 25 didn't go, I know that. So it's just like it's one of those years where it's just quiet. There's nothing going on. Like the only tell me as a fan what you want to hear from down there.
Devers would be the only guy.
Well, and Breslow and Cora that first day. Breslow saying that we really didn't do what we wanted to do, and Cora saying that I'm not going to talk about my contract. And then after that, it was Devers. But it's not the best of TV when you have to use the translator and things like that.
Well, I'll tell you, to be honest with you, there's a lot for the fact they haven't played a preseason game. There's a lot to talk about down there. It would actually be good to have you down there. Because there's a lot. I mean, we've talked about it on this show 2 days in a row, which is almost unprecedented. I can't recall, and we'll get into it later, but I can't recall any organization I've ever rooted for throw the towel in this early in the season. Like, have their players just go, like, we can't compete. And they haven't even played an exhibition game yet. I mean...
It's mystifying. It really is.
Like, they talked to the Oakland A's, and they don't even know where they're playing baseball next season. Like, and I guess everything's just a dump. Their spring training facilities a dump. Everything's just a dump.
I think they're going to wind up in Sacramento for 3 years.
Oh, yeah,
really?
Well, they don't know.
How long is it taking that ballpark to be built?
2028 or something?
Something like that.
And if it happens.
That's right. Vegas doesn't want them. That's the other part of it.
He's too hell-bent on the mayor saying that. The mayor has no say in it, but I guess the people of Vegas don't want it.
Really?
Yes.
It's going where the old Tropicana Hotel was,
yes,
right?
They don't like where it's going to be. They don't think it's going to work. They don't want baseball there. It's not something that they think is. They don't want the owner They don't want.
Yeah, nobody likes that owner.
Well, no, but the owner is a miser. The owner is not a good guy. He doesn't spend any money. And I find it very difficult to believe he's going to start spending. I mean, you're bringing this trash team to town. I mean, no one's going to get excited.
Just get out. Sell the team. That just drives me crazy.
Sell the team. Sell the team to another billionaire.
Why do you own it?
I don't know. It's a public trust. I don't understand why they want it. You would think you'd want it so people would at least like you. It's a thing to own, so you automatically pick up some kind of cachet with
why
with
else
people.
would you own a sports team these days, right?
I mean, you figured out other ways to make money. It can't just be the money. I mean, you've figured out enough way to get billions of dollars in order to fund this thing. So, yeah, it would have to be part of the public trust. But you know what I think about John Henry. I think that John Henry wanted to be loved. He thinks he did everything he could do. They won not just a championship, but multiple championships. And he feels he still gets crapped on. So he's like, I'm not going to talk to the media. And, why would I? I mean, no matter what I do. I think John Henry thought it was going to be a lot different than it is for him. I think he thought he was going to be in rarefied air around here. And for some reason, he's not. Fair or not. All right, Johnny boy.
We got a couple of things to get to here for what happened last night. We have Bruins played a wild game in Edmonton last night. The Patriots introduced their new offensive and defensive coordinators, and we will go through the limits of Jayson Tatum's movie knowledge. All of that
right.
coming up.
Maybe he knows one line from The Godfather? It could be possible. All right, we'll find out.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Wondering who made our list of the top 5 all-time queens of country music? Did Carrie Underwood make the cut? Find out now when you text Queens to 45911 and scroll through the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Queens to 45911 to see the talented artists who rounded out our top 5 list.
Zolak and Bertrand get you through the workday at 10. Right now, it's Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. Danny Roche is in here. What's going down, Johnny Wall game?
We'll start up in the scenic Edmonton, Alberta, Fred. They are expecting snow with a temperature of 0 on Monday morning, so a great place to be at this point. That's where the Bruins began their road trip last night, and through the first 35 minutes or so, things look pretty good.
Dish back up top, Wotherspoon. High cycle to DeBrusk. Puck was wobbling to Pasternak. Center point. Shoots, deflected. He scores! The Edmonton kid, Jake DeBrusk, gets a loose puck off that rebound and swats in a backhand.
Jake DeBrusk had that goal and an assist. Fred, I was thinking about this when he said Edmonton kid. When DeBrusk was on with us weekly, didn't he say something about buying a property up in Edmonton and he got swindled, or the guy he was buying the property from was a really bad guy that was wanted by the police or something like that?
Yeah, he had bought the property from a criminal, essentially, and everything went haywire at that point.
That's right.
Best sheet of ice in the league.
Is that what they say?
All the players, for years have said that.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a
right.
fun place to play. And what a great game it was.
It was fantastic. Bruins had a 4-1
Stayed up for that
lead.
whole game?
I had to work last night, Fred.
You were up the whole night?
Yeah.
Oh,
so at
geez.
11:25 when you tuned in, I had an update.
What time did you get to sleep last night?
I fell asleep with 9 minutes to go in the hockey game. I was
Oh,
like,
you
so
missed it.
Fun, but I watched the rest this morning.
All right, what time did you get up this morning?
3:55.
Because we were wondering how you get ready for the day, because you're always shaved and showered.
Yep. Hopped in.
So you get up at 3:55 and
Yep.
then you groom.
Shave, shower, make my coffee, stop at the mobile Dunkin' Donuts, picked up the papers if you need a paper. Cup of coffee on my ride in. Here I am.
All right. So 3:55. What time did you go to bed?
I don't know. It had to be
1?
a little past 1, something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, so you got yourself 2 hours of sleep.
Last night, but I prepared for it all week long, though.
How do you do that? How do you prepare for not getting sleep?
I took a lot of naps this week.
You don't.
literally.
That's not how the body works. You don't
I know.
store sleep up.
And I have to work
That's not
tonight,
how it
and
happens.
then tomorrow morning. So
No, you have to work tonight.
yeah, I'm going to try to sneak home after this, take a nap, then shower again, come in, do the TV
You
side.
just shower twice.
Yeah, do the TV side tonight, and then go back, sleep, come in here. Then I have 11 o'clock haircut tomorrow morning. Then I'm off.
And you get your haircut where?
Salon Mario Russo.
Which is
with
where?
Sal Malafront. Been seeing him for 24 years.
Yeah, which is downtown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he drives into the city. He goes downtown to get those silver locks.
Wow.
Clipped up. And then he lives in Andover, which I've been told is many, many hours away.
It's a long ways
days,
off.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
So he
not
drives
close.
into the city.
Yep.
He's so vain.
Wow.
No
All
one
right.
in Andover. He won't let him touch his hair. No one in Andover can touch that hair of
Nope.
his.
They used to, when I first started TV, they used to make me color it. It was so embarrassing. Oh, God.
Well, you've had gray hair since
Yes.
Like
since
I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad had it. I have it. Nope, got to color it.
We have pictures
So
of
I
you.
look
with the
younger.
Pictures of you
Yes.
that you can. You do.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Horrific.
Yeah. I mean, his whole time in the adult industry,
Yeah.
that was before the big, MILF movement.
Right.
He was
Gray hair was fine.
No, gray hair was not fine. He was. There was age discrimination back then.
So anyway, back to the game.
Okay.
Wait
Bruins.
until 8:00.
Did you miss me, Freddie?
I did miss you. I requested you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
All right, go ahead.
Bruins had a 4-1 lead with 5 minutes to go in the second period. They were up 3 goals with 5 minutes to go in the second period. You know what? They couldn't hold it.
Back of the net. Heinen trying to get it free.
Took a
It's
little cross check
McDavid.
for McDavid.
Up top, Ekholm shoots. Swayman the save. They score. Hyman got that rebound and makes it 5-5.
So Zach Hyman scores with 6:37 left in regulation to tie it, and as a result, we went to overtime even
By the way,
at 5. Not an ideal situation on the road. Yes,
I
Dan.
thought they were going to get smoked. When I fell asleep, like that third period, Edmonton looked like they had 7 skaters on the ice to the Bruins 4. Like they dominated them, and I fell asleep saying, well, because when they tied it at 4, I was like, that's it. Game over. But they came right
Pasternak
back.
put them up
Yeah.
5-4, and then Hyman tied it at 5-5. So, Fred, we went to overtime, and fortunately for the Bruins, Charlie McAvoy saved the evening.
Now high slot, McAvoy fakes, pull and drag, poke check, they score! Charlie McAvoy with the winner, got around the poke check by Skinner, and then chiseled it home. The Boston Bruins victorious 6-5 in overtime here in Edmonton.
McAvoy dragged the puck around a sliding defender on his forehand and scored near the left post on the backhand for a 6-5 Bruins win to start the road trip. They're back in first place in the division by 1 point over Florida. They play again tonight in Calgary. Judd Surratt and Bob Beers, 9 o'clock here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. But that's not really the big news. The big news surrounding the team is the health of Hampus Lindholm.
Hampus is not on the trip, and he's week to week. Will not play on the 4 games on this trip.
Is surgery in his...
Nope. Not even an option.
Okay, so Lindholm, who took a hard fall Monday afternoon at TD Garden, out now for at least these 4 games with a lower body injury. The fact that surgery is not an option is a good thing. But on top of that, Matt Grzelcyk got slashed in his foot on his first shift of the game last night.
By Ryan McLeod, and it was like nasty.
Awful. Did not return. So the Bruins, who just called up Mason Lowry, who had himself a good game last
he was
night.
good.
You know what
assists.
He called me before the game. You know what I said to him?
What'd you say?
To Mason Lowry?
What'd you say?
I said, Lowry.
Take it easy. Little fog hat. Nice. That was a great game to watch, though. Like, that was...
I was just going to let it sit. I just want you to know that I was going to let that sit as long as you wanted.
That should have been showcased. Like, it was a 10 o'clock game on TNT. That game should have been, like, at 8 o'clock, front and center, McDavid and company, and it was fun.
So we were actually talking about that yesterday.
So I was in the car for... we were talking about it after the show yesterday. So I was driving around, as I tend to do, for hours and hours and hours in the afternoons. And I was flipping around things, and Felger and Maz were, like, yelling about games being on ESPN Plus, which I don't have a problem with. ESPN Plus is easy to get. And so, anyways, when 9 o'clock rolled around, or 10 o'clock rolled around, and it was time for the 10 o'clock rolled around, and it was time for the game I said I'll stay up for the first period. I want to see Connor McDavid. So I'm on ESPN Plus. I'm like, this thing's not on ESPN Plus. What were they pitching about? It was on TNT.
Exactly.
So I don't understand what all the were they pitching about this particular game?
I didn't hear it, so I don't know.
I just think it was
you
the
gotta
fact that
listen.
it started so late.
You gotta listen.
But the other problem was the Philly game went long, so they didn't drop the puck to like 10:20, 10:25,
right.
which made it even worse.
So we were talking about this, though, is that I can't believe the with the end of the NFL season and the NBA season on break that they didn't make a concerted effort. I mean, they know a year in advance, like plan against these other sports. Like this week should have been a series of showcase games.
Absolutely.
You did the one thing where you had every game take a face-off 15 minutes after the first
Earlier
one.
in the season, from 7 o'clock to 10:30, you had a puck drop every 15 minutes. It was great.
And
I thought it was great.
ESPN's coverage back when they used to have the NCAA tournament. You'd go from game to game to game to game.
And I thought it was great. Of course, people bitched about it, but people are going to bitch about anything.
Right.
And I just think it was a novel thing where
It was
everyone
Scott Hansen
seems
like
playing.
too, right? They went in the studio. Then they have Butcher Gross and those guys just going game to game to game.
Yes, it was
great.
great.
It was just like Red Zone.
Yeah. And so if even if you haven't checked in on hockey for a while, like the team that you at least grew up liking or you had a semblance of allegiance to was playing at some point. So they should have taken more advantage of this. It is kind of weird.
You should have had 6 or 7 NHL games a night for the entire All-Star break. Now, not Saturday or Sunday, regardless of what you think about these events, a lot of people tune into them. But
the point is,
Friday
when there is
and
no
Monday,
other competition on,
Right.
there's no excuse not to have a showcase event, and not a stadium series thing that no one cares about, but like a goofy little thing where all the teams play.
Last night would have been a great night for it too. It was perfect timing. The NBA was still off basically. And you had it right there front and center. And you had that game. I don't know why you couldn't adjust that game, make it an 8 o'clock game nationwide. And it's Edmonton and Boston, two of the best teams with McDavid, the guy that everybody wants to see play.
But that's the thing. You need Connor McDavid in prime time as much as possible. Play every single game with that kid in prime time. If you really want to sell this product, you put when the NBA was floundering, you had Bird and Magic on every day they could do it. Put Connor McDavid on in prime time so everyone can watch him.
And one thing that they could have done that wouldn't even been difficult is they could have started the game. I know that it was a TNT game and there's like something bumping up against it, but they could have had that game start at 9 o'clock.
Easily.
Because that's a mountain time zone. They only have a 2-hour time difference. So, I mean, even 9:30 you could have had that game start. And just locally had it start on time. And then
it dragged.
Yeah.
To delay the start. And the other part, too, was the Bruins. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just the crispness of the ice or what have you, but they looked like a totally different team than they did in that homestand. Totally different. They came out, they were flying, and yes, they gave up the 5 goals or what have you, but they were fun to watch. They got guys moving all over the place and moving the puck and passing the puck.
Jaffe said
where's
this
that
2
been?
weeks ago. Jaffe said they were home for way too long. He
Yes.
said and it's funny because you think homestand is like good for you, but he said between the All-Star break and the automatic time they get off for that and that long-ass homestand, they needed to get out of town. And he predicted it. He goes, they'll start playing better as soon as they get out of town. And we'll maybe one day find out what's going on with Lindholm.
Yeah.
Because I guess he doesn't need surgery, but it's a lower body thing, and I don't know what the hell is going
like a
on.
knee
Not only
sprain or
that,
something, right?
It's not only that. You got to be down Lindholm and Grzelcyk tonight.
Right.
So, I mean, this is...
Lowry played well.
Lowry played well,
Yeah,
but
took it
you
easy.
already have Lowry and Wotherspoon up.
Wotherspoon's playing really well. Like this, he jumped up to the first pairing on the D with McAvoy for a long time last night in that game.
That's the other thing. You played first night of a back-to-back. You went with 5 defensemen through overtime for, most of the evening.
But you know what? Over the years, this is that game that just you sit there and say they'll be exhausted coming off the overtime, the emotion, and they come out and play well this next night. It always baffles me. Watch the Bruins. I guarantee you, when I'm sitting here tomorrow and I'm looking at my clock and it says it's 6:30 a.m., I'm going to say, "Wow, I told you guys, I was right. Bruins won."
All right. Well, please just don't get your family in trouble with the gambling again. Mm-hmm. Because I know when you have a quote-unquote feeling, you can get a little out of control.
Mortgage.
All right. So we'll be back here at the headlines.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Country music has so many generous artists who always seem to jump in to help those in need. We're spotlighting 5 who lead by example and lend a helping hand to charitable causes. See who made our list when you text GIVE to 45911. Text GIVE to 45911 and read all about it right now on BackstageCountry.com.
Dutcher and Hardy, the reviews are in.
I got to say, I don't want to talk about you. Give me about 5 minutes of my time.
And what he said. Now more of on the Sports Hub.
It is time to talk to our friend. His name is Rock and Roll Mike. Rock and Roll Mike, how you doing? Hi, Rock and Roll Mike. Why are you so quiet, Rock and Roll Mike? I wonder if he'll call back.
I bet you he will. Probably fell asleep.
Well, I mean,
all night.
He might have needed in surgery.
Yeah, that's right.
There might have been there was the twins that he was responsible for the C-section. I'm wondering, he has a very similar job to Dr. Huxtable on the Cosby Show. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, he has an office in his house, but then he has to go into the hospital to do the actual.
Sure.
Yeah. Sammy Davis Jr. came over one time. He was not a good father.
He was not happy. He thought Cliff was in the wrong, if I remember correctly.
But he couldn't read.
Yeah, and that was the crux of the issue.
Yeah.
Cliff gently tried to guide him through those choppy waters. Sammy Davis Jr. wasn't having any of it. He was very angry.
Yeah. All right. So what's going on here, young Johnny Wallgame?
Well, let's talk about Patriots, Fred, because there really is no off season. There are press conferences everywhere, and this is somewhere that Dan Roche was yesterday afternoon. Yesterday was the day to meet the assistant coaches of the Patriots down in Foxborough. Gerard Mayo decided to eschew the Jim Rome high riser, Fred. He's a man of the people. He instead decided to sit at a table at the front of the class and talk to reporters on their own level. You remember Bill Belichick would stand up very high and kind of like the king, talk to his minions. That was not the case, Gerard Mayo. It's a new day, a new dawn. The real news of the day came after Gerard Mayo stopped speaking to the media and introduced his new assistant coaches, offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt.
Who, by the way, Nicholas, who runs our social media accounts, put a very, very mean tweet saying that I look like Alex Van Pelt, but not only that, but Alex Van Pelt is a clean-shaven me, meaning that he's more put together than me. I showed it to my daughter.
A little heavier than you.
Oh, thank you, John.
I don't think it's even close.
I thank you, Dan. I think it was just blind cruelty by Nick. And what happened is I happened to be sitting with my daughter in a waiting room of not forget it. In a waiting room. I was going to make a joke of a mechanic. I was in a mechanic's office, but I was going to make a joke. But it wouldn't have been appropriate. I was in a waiting room.
Yeah.
I was going to be a silly goose, but I was seriously in a waiting room I got to get my car fixed. And I saw the tweet, and I said, Zoe, do I look like this? And she said, no. Who put that up there? And I go, I got to believe it's Nick. And she goes, oh, the guy with the huge ass. And I said, yeah.
Wow. This is hostility left over from the way you treated him during the show yesterday, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he just put up like a bunch of memes of like face or emojis of faces going, huh? Mm-hmm. And everyone knows he's not nearly as attractive as I am. Come on, guys. I don't need that. And what it is body shaming.
Yeah.
And which that makes it a hostile
work environment. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's happened here before.
Yeah, well, it's been alleged.
So Alex Van Pelt, Fred. Alex Van Pelt spoke to the media yesterday.
AVP. Get used to it.
They asked him. They asked him who his ideal quarterback would be.
The biggest thing is there's some good pieces in place. I think the best thing for everybody is it's going to be a fresh start for everybody. I've talked to a couple guys already to coming in with a clean slate, no preconceived expectations or notions of who these guys are, and then we'll build it from the ground up. But exciting to have the opportunity to do that.
The real question is, though, Fred, and I think everyone wants to know, what kind of offense is he going to run? The Patriots' offense was terrible for long periods of time last year. What kind of offense does Alex Van Pelt bring to the table?
I would say similar. I'd say there's a lot of similarities. Again, it's those pieces of that puzzle. What's available and how can we make those guys successful? But there'll be similarities. I've taken pieces of a lot of different offenses over my time, and kind of melded those together in what's best for us at that time.
He, as you said, he's bringing the Cleveland offense here. The Cleveland offense is most middle of the pack each of the last 2 years, with Deshaun Watson and without Deshaun Watson. The run game better than the pass.
Run
game.
the ball. Throw the ball. Be tough, physical. Go deep when you can.
Educate me on why he was fired, because it seemed like they had a lot of success given the turnstile quarterback room that they had.
Because every team in the NFL fires its coordinators these days. It's just, if you've seen, watch the transaction wire all year long. Every team has new coordinators coming in and coming out if you don't make the playoffs.
But they had six.
Even if you do.
I think did they play 4 or 5? It might have been 5, but they certainly 4. And Flacco was a comeback player of the year candidate. And believe me, Flacco has not been good over the last few years. So even that he was functional is something.
Why was he so bad with the Jets, Fred? Because of the line?
I don't know. He didn't seem to try.
Didn't care.
He just was one. You know how veterans sometimes just get like so loosey goosey. It just seems like they're so relaxed. It doesn't seem like anything matters. That's how he looked. So, I don't know what he's supposed to say. What kind of offense he's going to run? I mean, it's February. Rock and roll, Mike. Finally,
I don't know what your quarterback is.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you hear me?
I can.
You can?
Yeah.
All right, rock and roll time. I was in Las Vegas. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
Yeah. Did you go to the Super Bowl?
Crazy.
Were you with Taylor Swift?
I wish she picked me up in a freaking jet. She didn't do that.
Yeah, she didn't do that. So what were you doing in Vegas?
I was on the blow, man. I was doing a lot of blow.
Right.
I was in the alleyways, in the dumpsters, and everything going on.
Now, is
beautiful.
Is the blow better? Is the blow better in Vegas, or is the cocaine better in Boston?
No, you know what? I must admit, it is better in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but it is. It's better in Vegas, man.
Do you think you're making your dealers feel a little bad?
Crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable. I love the dumpsters. I love the alleyways. But believe me, the blow, I hate to admit it. It is better in Vegas.
Oh, that's a shame. I mean, but the poor drug dealers here, they're going to step up their game.
I'm sorry to admit that, but it's true.
All right.
It's true. And the midgets are everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, they're everywhere. Better than Copley Station, man.
There's a lot of midgets at Copley Station? Are you saying there's a lot of midgets at Copley Station?
I swear to God, over 10 years ago, okay? Dude, I slid on, okay? Now, I'm down at Copley Station, right? And I'm DJing, all right? And we have a concert down in Fenway Park, 100,000 effing people, okay? Now, all these midgets, they're everywhere. I swear. I said, what the frick is going on here? I'm in Vegas. Unbelievable. They're everywhere.
So you were in Copley Square. You were about to play for 80,000 people at Fenway, and then a bunch of midgets showed up?
We did. I did Fenway Park in front of 100,000 people, okay? Now, I'm DTing, okay?
Yeah, you're
I don't have a drink. And it's 80 degrees out. And now, I'm going down up to Berkeley School of Music, okay?
Yeah.
Now, and there's midgets everywhere, dwarfs. I said, what the frick is going on here?
Well, you are a storyteller, Rock and Roll Mike.
Back in the Fenway Park.
Well,
because I forgot to get my pass.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got to play for in front of 80,000 people at Fenway.
It was 100,000.
100,000 people at Fenway.
Yeah.
Huh? Excuse me?
I said I'm glad you got to play for 100,000 people at Fenway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love Fenway Park. That's home base. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
And I will be back in June. I guarantee. So I am in Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee.
You're in Memphis.
No, I'm in Tennessee. Yeah, I'm in Tennessee, and I'm drinking a lot of under the You know what I mean? I'm doing a lot of under the table. But I will be back in June.
Right, you're servicing men.
Okay,
I
will be back in June to home base.
All right, Rock and Roll Mike. Well, we love hearing about your adventures.
And we gotta rock and roll and party every fucking.
All right, that's 3 swears.
All right. Awesome.
By Rock and Roll Mike.
I always want to know, where he is.
Well, he just told you.
No, but I mean, is he in a comfortable living room?
No,
he's in calling from?
He's in Everett.
Right?
Yeah. He's generally in Everett,
and he hasn't left.
I want to know,
no, he's
he didn't go to Vegas. He's not in Tennessee. He's in Everett.
But he did.
He never went to Vegas.
No. You don't understand the
I want to know how he flies and everything too.
He
it
flies.
warms my heart to think about him on C36B.
Right? Exactly.
That didn't happen.
He flies. He smokes DMT, and then that takes him where he needs to go.
Oh,
and then he comes down and he sees the midgets. Yeah. That's what he says.
They're everywhere.
I thought he physically went to Vegas. I was like,
no.
What airline?
No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, but then he was very reticent to say that the cocaine was better because he knew he was going to offend a lot of his friends. You just step on it too much here. Oh, good. Nick's got a new article about Rock and Roll Mike and his trips.
There it is.
Hey, you should have him be a correspondent from the road and just write for the website.
I was thinking about having tour shirts made up, Rock and Roll Mike World Tour.
Well, I mean, they already have to be made up. He played for 100,000 people at Fenway.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. So, were you upset with Alex Van Pelt? I heard people on the stage were very upset with Alex Van Pelt.
Why would we be upset? Well, there is one thing that they might be upset about, and Dan, it's number 3. They asked him about his ideal quarterback.
Smart, tough. And a leader. You put him in those categories. I mean, obviously there's accuracy in the pass game and mobility and decision making. There's a lot that goes into it. But at the end of the day, that role is such an important role for the rest, not just the offense, for the team as well. So a guy that's a true leader that can come in and really, understands his teammates and gets the best out of those guys.
Okay.
And why is that making everyone mad?
Right after that, they asked him, does he have an idea who he wants his quarterback to be next year? And he said all the options are open, including Mac Jones returning.
Well, I would imagine you would say that. I don't think that you'd want to give anything away.
Not only that, but he's in the building. I mean, what are you going to say? It's just like Mac Jones is walking around.
But it doesn't give him a competitive advantage to tell anyone anything right now.
But you don't want to, diss or be all over Mac Jones. He's got no chance.
Well, say you were keeping him around as a backup or something, or you were going to start him ahead of the kid that you draft. I mean, I don't know. It's just I have a very hard time getting on the guy. He didn't seem to really say anything. I heard people got upset about it, so I listened to it, and I'm like, I don't get what's going on.
And if you want to describe, Mac Jones, it's not what he said, right? He makes good decisions, accuracy. No, we didn't see that last year.
No. And by the way, all you got to know about if you want to insult the Van Pelt hiring is they didn't want him. Is that he was way down the list of guys they wanted. That's just the way it is. They didn't want him. All right. Thank you to Rock and Roll Mike. We will return in just a moment.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Wondering who made our list of the top 5 all-time queens of country music? Did Carrie Underwood make the cut? Find out now when you text Queens to 45911 and scroll through the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Queens to 45911 to see the talented artists who rounded out our top 5 list.
Is elongating?
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Roche is in for Hardy. Hardy should be back on Monday. And we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. All right, Johnny Wall game, what's going on?
We got one more thing. Celtics play their first game coming out of the All-Star break tonight in Chicago against the Bulls. Everyone except for new guard Jaden Springer is listed as healthy. So that means, Fred, Xavier Tillman on the floor for the first time tonight. I know you're a big fan of that, the Michigan State kid who you are not exactly high on, but he's going to be in uniform tonight for the Celtics. But that's not why I bring it up. The Celtics put this out on social media yesterday. It apparently happened after all the players got back from the All-Star break. You know the game Heads Up you play with cell phones where you put the phone over your forehead and it's a clue and someone has to guess what it is that is over your head?
Okay, I used to play with a headband and cards.
Yes, okay, too. Basically the same thing.
Cell phone.
Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. This is on the Celtics Twitter page. Tatum is giving the clues to Brown. He has the cell phone above his head, and the category, Fred, is movies.
Pass. I've never seen any. Come on, man. I don't know. Pass. The President down at Kennedy? Yeah. Pass. Oh, not Lion King, not Tarzan, but The Incredibles. It's animals. Nemo, Finding Nemo. Pass. Jungle Book. Not Mr. Right, but Mr. Wrong. Yo, first off, every time. Did y'all see any of the movies? He waits 5 seconds going. Oh, I never saw none of the movies.
Face of the NBA. I mean, if you give that charisma, I mean, I couldn't believe the clip was stopping. I mean, I just want to hear that guy talk about anything. I want him to hear him read the phone book. I take it all back. He is the face of the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, get that kid as many endorsements as you can. All right. So what was going on?
Here were the movies that he could not name in order: Streetcar Named Desire, Rogue One, Jarhead, Almost Famous, Flashdance, Ready Player One, and Game Night. Those are the movies you'd figure it's a wide range. He might at least get one.
What were they showing him on the screen?
What it is you just see the title of the movie, and he has to give the clues to Jaylen Brown to get him to figure it out. He had no idea what any of the movies are, so he couldn't give the clues.
Well, these guys have no free time, in fairness. All right, so what are the movies?
Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar Named Desire. Yeah. Rogue One, the Star Wars.
Yeah.
Jarhead, that's Jamie Foxx about the Marines.
Yeah,
Almost Famous.
Of course.
Flashdance, Ready Player One, and Game Night. Now, those last Ready Player One and Game Night were within the last, 10 years?
Yeah.
You know, Flashdance, somewhat famous movie.
Well, Flashdance was referenced in a Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
Just they brought the woman in from Flashdance at the end of the Super Bowl commercial.
Yes. So he could not even give a clue of any of these movies to Jaylen Brown, who was trying to guess them.
My God.
We should play that game. That's a tough game.
We should do it on the radio, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
It would.
I mean, I can just see the charisma drips from these guys, the cultural knowledge, everything. I mean, you can tell. I mean, it's like Draymond. Who do I hire, Draymond Green or Tatum? I mean, who's going to be my next TV guy? I don't know. It's weird.
Celtics in Chicago tonight, Fred.
Yeah? Is that the TNT game?
8 o'clock tip. I don't know if it's TNT, but I did not look. But it's 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. First game back from the All-Star break.
All right. It should be very exciting as that all gets underway. We have Dan Lifshitz and Kendra Middleton. They're going to come in to talk about what to gamble on. Maybe they have a little, as baseball gets underway, they have their thoughts on the Red Sox.
I have a weird bet that I'm wondering if you could play it in Vegas or around here or whatever. So it's good. I'm glad. I had a question over the weekend as I was watching. So what?
Good for you, Danny.
Yeah.
You got something you want to ask the gang?
I do.
All right, good. You'll hear Dan has a question about a bet he thought of over the weekend.
Yeah.
So if you were going to turn the channel, please don't. There will be no commercials here just to have.